500 mil thousand. 7 days. Spend every dollar or lose it all. That's the rule. Not invest, not donate, not transfer. Spend. Every transaction has to be a purchase. Something you buy, something you own, something with a price tag. Wire it to a charity, doesn't count. Put it in stocks, doesn't count. Buy the building, take the deed, hand over the cash, counts. 7 days. $500 billion. 0 left or you walk away with nothing. Day 1, you open your laptop. You type most expensive things in the world. You scroll, you read, you close the tab. 71,428,571,408. That's what you need to spend today. Just today. You have no idea where to start. Day 1. 71,571,428 to spend today. You start with the obvious. A private jet. Gulfstream Dream G700, the best one money can buy, 79 million $2. You wire the payment, done in 4 minutes. You check your balance, 499,925,000,000. You spent $75 million and your balance barely moved. It's like buying a coffee when you have $10,000 in your pocket. You don't even feel it. So you buy another one, then a third. Then you call a dealer and buy the entire remaining inventory, 12 jets, $900 million total. You now own 15 Gulfstream G700s. You don't have a pilot. You don't have a hangar. You don't know what you're going to do with 15 private jets. But you spent $975 million today, and you still have 499,025,000 left. You needed to spend $71 billion. You spent less than one. This is the first thing nobody tells you about $500 billion. The things you know how to buy run out fast. A jet, a watch, a car. You exhaust your entire imagination in 40 minutes, and you've barely touched the surface. The problem isn't the money. The problem is you've only ever learned to want at one scale. And $500 billion doesn't live at that scale. The size of your wallet changed. The size of your wanting didn't. Day 2, you go bigger. You buy a super yacht. The ASM, longest private yacht in the world, $600 million. Wired. Done. You call a broker and ask what else is available. He sends a list of 46 more. You take all of them. You call a broker in Monaco and ask how many are available on the market right now. He says 47. You say you'll take all of them. $14 billion later, you own 47 super yachts and have nowhere to dock them. Your balance, 486 million thousand. You needed to spend $71 billion today. You spent $14 billion. You're falling behind. So you go after real estate. You buy a penthouse in Manhattan, $100 million, 157, the one they call the billionaire's building. Then the one next to it. Then the entire floor. Then you call the developer and ask if you can buy the whole building. He says it's not for sale. You offer double. He says he'll think about it. You move on. You buy 12 more penthouses across New York, Dubai, London, Hong Kong. $2.1 billion. Your balance doesn't flinch. Here is what day 2 teaches you. There are only so many things with a price tag big enough to matter. Yachts, jets, penthouses, art. You can buy every single one and still have $480 billion sitting there, untouched, waiting. The market wasn't built for someone spending at your scale. Every price was set assuming the buyer had limits. You don't have limits, and that's the problem. Day 3, you try land. You hire a real estate firm, 40 agents, 3 countries, full-time for 24 hours. Their job, find everything for sale. Everything, commercial buildings, private islands, entire city blocks. They come back with a list, 3,847 properties across 12 countries. Combined asking price, $31 billion. You say yes to all of it. Wire the payments. $31 billion gone by 11 a.m. Your balance, 454,000. You needed to spend $71 billion today. You spent $31 billion. Still behind. So you go after the things not on the list. You call the owner of a private island off the coast of Fiji. 43 acres, no asking price, not publicly listed. You offer $500 million. He says no. You offer $800 million. He says the island has been in his family for 3 generations. You offer $1.2 billion. He says some things aren't for sale. You hang up, you call the next number. Same answer. Different island. Different reason. You spend the rest of day 3 chasing properties that don't have price tags and discovering that the most valuable things in the world are valuable precisely because nobody is selling them. $31 billion in 24 hours, and the things you actually wanted, you couldn't get. This is the rule nobody writes on a price tag. At this level, money stops being a key. It becomes a filter. It shows you exactly which doors exist and exactly which ones will never open for you regardless of what you're holding. Day 4, you try to buy people, not own them. Buy their time, their talent, Their loyalty. You post a job listing, $10,000 per hour, any skill, any background, show up tomorrow. Within 6 hours, you have 140,000 applications. You hire 10,000 of them, assistants, architects, chefs, security, advisors, fixers. People whose entire job is to help you spend money faster. You wire $240 million in signing bonuses before noon. Your balance, $453,760,000, barely moved. But here's what happens on day 4. You ask your head of acquisitions to find you something worth buying, something that matters, something that will actually make a dent. He comes back 3 hours later with a 47-page report. Detailed, organized, color-coded. It tells you everything about what's available. It tells you nothing about what you actually want, because he doesn't know what you want. And by day 4, you're starting to suspect you don't either. You have 10,000 people working for you, answering emails you didn't send, making calls you didn't ask for, optimizing a process you never designed. They are extraordinarily good at executing. Nobody is good at deciding. Because deciding requires knowing what this is all for. And that question, what is this for, doesn't get easier when you have more people in the room. It gets harder. Every person you hire adds one more voice that isn't yours. You can buy someone's hours. You cannot buy their judgment. And without judgment, 10,000 people is just noise at scale. Day 5. You try to buy power, not influence, not access, power, the kind that moves things. You call a lobbying firm in Washington, the kind with no website, referral only. You wire $2 billion as an opening retainer. They take the call. They take the money. They do not take your calls after that. You donate $500 million to 3 presidential campaigns simultaneously, different parties, different countries, different ideologies. Legal, documented, above board. Your name appears in no headlines. Nothing changes by evening. So you go after media. You buy a newspaper, $800 million, one of the oldest in the country. You buy a television network, $4.2 billion. You buy a social media platform, $6 billion, smaller than the big ones, but enough. Day 5, and you own the printing press, the broadcast tower, the algorithm. You have 10,000 employees, and now 3 newsrooms. You call the editor of your newspaper and tell him you want a front-page story about something that matters to you. He listens politely. He explains editorial independence. You own the paper. He still runs the newsroom. You hang up confused. This is what Day 5 shows you. There are 2 kinds of power. The kind you can purchase, platforms, access, proximity. And the kind that was never for sale, trust, legitimacy, the specific authority that only comes from being in a room long enough that people forget you weren't always there. You can buy the building. You cannot buy the history of the building. Power has a price. Legitimacy doesn't take payment. Day 6, you try to buy time. Not more hours in the day, more years. You call the longest-running longevity research lab in the world, Calico, backed by Alphabet, $3.5 billion committed since 2013 with no finish line in sight. You wire $20 billion. They take it. They thank you. They tell you results may come in 15 to 20 years. You will be older by then, possibly gone. You wire another $8 billion to a cryonics facility in Scottsdale, Arizona, the kind that freezes your body after death and waits for science to catch up. 199 people are already waiting there. You'll be number 200, $80,000 for the procedure, the cheapest thing you've bought all week. So you go further, $15 billion into AI research, systems that could theoretically upload human consciousness, preserve memory, simulate personality. The researchers are brilliant. They are also careful to say the word theoretically in every sentence. $12 billion into space, a private Mars habitat, pressurized, self-sustaining, room for 50 people. Completion date, 2041. You do the math on your own birthday. It's close, very close. Day 6 and you have spent $55 billion trying to not die. Your balance, 399 million thousand. And the one thing every doctor, researcher, and scientist you've spoken to today has refused to sell you is a guarantee. They'll take the money. They won't make the promise. You can fund the search for immortality. You cannot purchase the outcome. Day 7, 399,000. 1 day left. You do the math. 86,400 seconds in a day. $399 billion divided by 86,400 is $4,618,050,005 every second. Every second you sit still, you fall further behind. You call nobody. You open no laptops. You don't wire anything. You just sit. For the first time in 7 days, you are not buying, not searching, not calling brokers or lobbyists or researchers or dealers, just sitting with $309 billion and nowhere to put it. And the silence is louder than any number you've seen this week. You think about day one, the laptop, the search. Most expensive things in the world. You thought the problem was finding the right thing to buy. You know now that was never the problem. The problem is that $500 billion doesn't fill anything. It only reveals what was already empty. The jets didn't do it. The yachts didn't do it. The newsrooms, the researchers, the 10,000 people. None of it moved the needle on the thing you were actually looking for, which you never named, which you still can't name. Sitting here on day 7 with $399 billion and 6 hours left. Midnight comes. The money disappears. All 399,000 of it. Gone by the terms you agreed to on day 1. The last thing you feel is not loss, it's relief. The wanting was always the expensive part. Someone opened a laptop on day 1. They typed 4 words into a search bar. They scrolled, they read, they closed the tab. 7 days later, they had owned 15 private jets, 47 super yachts, 3,862 properties across 12 countries, 10,000 employees, 3 newsrooms, a newspaper, a television network, a social media platform, a cryonic slot in Scottsdale, Arizona, and a seat on a Mars habitat scheduled for 2041. They spent 101 million thousand. They had 399 million thousand left when the clock ran out. The search bar is still open. The cursor is still blinking. The tab they closed on day 1, most expensive things in the world, is still there in the browser history, right between the Longevity Labwire confirmation and the Monaco Yacht Broker's contact page. They never found what they were looking for, not because it wasn't for sale, because they never knew what it was. $500 billion. 7 days, 1 open tab. The cursor keeps blinking.